All right, time now for All Things Gators, All Things Orange and Blue. Dan Hicken and Frank Frangie. What's up, Hick?
We're doing well. Thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best in the business. Visit sc-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs. Frank, and away we go. Baseball, you want to start there? The Gators are in the SEC tournament. Played much better down the stretch, albeit against lesser competition. At the time of this recording, open up against South Carolina in a game that they should win. Took 2 out of 3 from the Gamecocks over the weekend. What are your thoughts about Florida baseball going forward?
Yeah, won 10 of the last 12. They're playing really well. They've got Wyatt Langford, the guy that nobody knew much about, kind of a backup catcher from Trenton once upon a time. Might be their best player right now. He runs, he hits. He's a really good left fielder. He's got 21 home runs. You know this for the first time.
How is he not all SEC, by the way, by the coaches? Wyatt Langford could have been SEC. Again, I'm not an expert in SEC baseball, so maybe somebody had an unbelievable year. But Wyatt Langford certainly should be a SEC Player of the Year finalist, shouldn't he?
If you're a Player of the Year, if you're in the Player of the Year conversation, which I'm sure he is, you got to at least be on the first team.
Second team.
I know. So, by the way, first time in school history, and I know you know this, Dan, first time in school history, 2 guys have hit 20 home runs in the same year. It's hard to believe. Yeah. That 98 team with Brad Wilkerson and Casey Smith and Hazard and all those guys. But and then all the guys that played with Laporta, the guys that played with Alonso, never had 2 guys do it. So that's a pretty special year offensively. So, no, again, we're recording this before the game. Right. It's the 2 o'clock game today. That comes after this recording is a one and done game. Right. If you win that game, then you get into the double elimination. Right. But they've won 10 out of 12. They're playing better. They've played their way, obviously, into the NCAA tournament.
Correct.
They've played their way into, I think, probably a 2 seed in a regional, which means you're one of the top 32 teams. Yes. And I wonder if they make a run in the tournament, can they still get a regional, or is that out of the question, you think?
I think it's probably not going to happen. I know that they have a very strong RPI. I know there's a lot of positives about the way they're playing and such, but I would be hard pressed to imagine them host. I would think they'd have to go out and at least get to maybe if they got to the championship game, Frank.
It would probably take that to get one. But we keep seeing them mocked either to Coral Gables or Hattiesburg. I'll tell you what I told you last time we did this.
You want Gables, right?
Yeah, no, I want Hattiesburg.
Okay, all right.
Because I think I've told you this before. When you're in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, you don't want to see Florida come calling. You don't want to see the logo, the uniform. Miami might not be great, but they're not afraid of Florida. No, those teams in Mississippi and Arkansas and Oklahoma, other than the schools, the conference schools, those other schools in those areas don't want to see Florida come. That's almost, we said this, like it's almost like having a basketball tournament and North Carolina shows up. Even if they're having an off year, you don't want to see that powder blue show up.
That's a good point.
Florida's that way in baseball. So I hope they go to Hattiesburg. But first things first, I hope they make a run through this tournament. Brandon Sproat has pitched very well. Neely has pitched very well.
Neely's been a very pleasant surprise.
He really has.
He's the Spruce Creek kid, I believe.
Correct. And this Ryan Slater and obviously some of these guys out of the Purnell. Philip Abner comes in now. He's like a lefty on lefty specialist. Comes in to get one batter. They're starting to pitch better. I'll tell you this too. If Judd Fabian can get going, because he looked like he found it a little bit last week. He really slumped. He was 1 for 27 at one point.
He has some massive slumps.
Yes, but he's explosive, man. And I'm just telling you, Dan, if he gets going, the top 4 in that lineup, if it's Langford, Thompson, Judd Fabian, and Ryapel, if Fabian gets going, that 4 is as good as anybody's in the country, including Tennessee or anybody else. Yeah. So if they can get that group, that's a real get Fabian going and try and outscore some people. I think that's how they're going to have to play.
I love your positivity this morning, Frank. As long as we're talking baseball,
I'm a positive guy.
Thank you. We should also shout out to Coach Walton's softball ladies who were victorious in their regional and really waxed whiskey there at the end. And now they'll go against 3 seed, a very good team, Virginia Tech, who was really close to getting knocked off, which would have been really good. And look, there's a lot more parity in softball. As you look now, you'll see that it's Oklahoma and everybody else. So it may not matter, but FSU is really good team and they're out. 7 losses only this year, Frank. They're gone.
And I'll say this too.
And Bama's gone too.
And it doesn't matter, Dan, how you're playing in in February. Okay. It was not a characteristically great season for Tim Walton. What matters is how you're playing in May and June. That's what matters.
Right.
And they seem to be playing pretty well. So I'm with you. I like kind of where they are. A lot.
Yeah. So good stuff in baseball and softball, and good luck as they go to Virginia Tech. Obviously, Virginia Tech's a 3 seed, and Florida was a 14 seed in softball. So
how about a little hoop? Want to talk some hoop?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you should be excited, Frank, as the hoops guy. Do you have a breaking news to tell us about with a signing?
It's not breaking now. I think people know by now that Riley Kugel's going there, but he was a big-time recruit.
Yeah.
Orlando kid, a 6'4", 6'5", kind of swingman type guy.
It's a good get.
A small forward, big. It is a good get. Mm-hmm. And, he missed. The only guy they missed was obviously the Johnny Broome kid. Mm-hmm. They missed a couple. They went after, I was thinking, at least I read their name connected with a 6'10" center from Washington State and the 6'10" center from St. Bonaventure.
Little size.
Doesn't look like they're getting either one of those guys. Mm-hmm. But I think, listen, Castleton's going to be their center. Okay? Yeah. Kyle Lofton from St. Bonaventure is going to be their point guard.
Yeah.
Right? Bonham will be the backup, but he'll be the point guard. Mm-hmm. After that, there's a bunch of guys. Kawasi Reeves is going to be in the mix. Felder's going to be in the mix. Alex Fudge, the transfer from LSU, is going to be in the mix. Will Richard, the transfer from Belmont's going to be in the mix. There's a bunch of guys, I think, that will make up that 2 through, you know what I mean? That 2 through 4 spot.
Yeah.
They'll be intrigued. One more big guy I would have been happy with, but they're going to be fun to watch. I think, given when he got the job,
correct,
and what he had to do, I think it'll be. If nothing else, it's very interesting to see what they've become.
I would agree in a lot of respects. I'm just more cautious because we did this last year at this time.
I know.
We were so geeked up about all these transfers, and I'm more excited really to see. I think Felder and Jones in year 2 in the program. I would be willing to bet you one of those guys takes off and becomes a big-time contributor to this basketball program. Now that they have a year of experience, they battled through injuries and such. I think one of those guys I'm looking forward to watching play. I don't get too – the transfers are great. I love the signing of the kid. I love getting a kid from in-state. I love beating out LSU and Georgia for the kid. So I think those are the things that Todd Golden needs to hang his hat on. But certainly, again – we got a chance. We're in position now. We got some players, and we'll see what they're able to do in the SEC.
I'll say this about Felder and Jones. Mm-hmm. Neither one of them were as good at Florida as they were at BC and Penn State, respectively. Now, they both were hurt. Felder recently had a tweet that I'm finally healthy. I don't even know what all his injuries were. Obviously, Jones broke a finger on the offhand, and he was a really good three-point shooter at Penn State and not so good at Florida. So, I think between those two guys, the guys we mentioned, we'll see. Well, again, in fairness to all this, and you're right, one thing we learned from last year is you have no idea what the portal guys are going to be like. Right. You have no idea you don't know until they get there. But given the current circumstance in college basketball, Dan,
they needed to get those guys.
Right. That's when you get the job now, it's all you can do.
Right.
You have no choice.
Right.
So we'll see. It's going to be fun to watch. The team is put together now. Again, I would have liked one more big guy, one more athletic big guy, but I like where they landed. So we'll see. What about football? Who we recruited? Anybody getting signed out there?
We need to. We need to keep momentum train rolling. Okay, we got some things that have happened, but we need to keep it going, and we need some names. We need some names to keep coming, and we got some guys. The IMG guy, the JUCO guy, getting some size in there. We got the transfer from Arizona State. I like the receiver who had. A lot was made of, and again, I got to be honest, I didn't watch a ton of Arizona State last year. Emory's new place, by the way. Right. But all the receivers are left Emory. One went to FSU, and a lot was made of that kid. Well, he had about 8 catches last year.
Right.
The guy that came to Florida had 40-some catches last year.
41, yep.
Yeah.
Led him in receiving.
So I'm excited about, not small, 6 foot. I think, slot guy runs hard after he catches it. I like it. It's a good pickup. But Napier said he was going to hit the portal hard, and a lot of the portal is portaled up already, I think.
Well, they missed a couple. The biggest concern I have is I'm worried about their defensive front. And that's why I don't think they're very good. Gervon Dexter hopefully will be very good. I don't know what else is there.
Yeah.
But they had 2 defensive line transfers, and they missed them. The Maryland guy went to Miami. Mm-hmm. The Arizona State guy went to Louisville.
Right.
So they wound up missing 2 defensive linemen that I was really hoping they were getting. So that concerns me as far as next year's team goes. Obviously, and Dan, you've said this a bunch, the good of the program or how good the program will be comes down to how many high school guys they get, not how many portal guys they get.
Right.
But for the here and now, the more portal guys, the better. So we'll see.
Patience. Patience.
Yeah, that's right. I worry about the defensive front. That's because in college football, you got to have quarterback play and defensive line, and I don't know if they've got that. That concerns me more than anything else.
Well, scared money don't make money, and Gators ain't scared when it comes to betting. And if you look at the Florida-Utah odds line, you're surprised to see what has transpired with Florida being a slight favorite. I mean, Utah should be favored to win that football game, in my opinion, but that will be a really interesting game. And it's one somebody asked me this week, would you rather that game be at 3:30 or at night? I love the atmosphere of night, but because it's Napier's first game, we got to swelter. We got to take that one on the chin as fans to help the boys get a W, because I believe those Utah guys, if we get some good, hot southern weather, they can melt in that stuff.
That's a great point. I always think the home team has a great advantage at night because crowds are just louder at night.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you're in Utah, there's not much humidity, and that's all we have here is humidity. So you're right about that. You talk about the odds. Let me tell you what's weird.
Yeah.
I've now seen that Florida's a 1.5 favorite over Utah, who might win the Pac-12.
Right.
But then I also saw the over and under at Florida is 6.5.
6.5. How about that?
I mean, am I such a homer? I guess I am. I'd go over that all day long.
I would too, but I think you have to. I think they got to come on a number they want you to bet, and then you also have to remember this is a team that did lose to Missouri last year and lost to South Carolina. I mean, so there's some challenges there for this Florida football team. Again, as far as the wins and losses, I think so much hinges on Anthony Richardson. If he is what Florida fans hope for, over 6.5 will be easy.
Yeah,
but if he gets nicked up, if he gets hurt, if he's not the guy that we thought he is, there might be there's going to be some issues in Gainesville now.
One thing I do sense, and we talk about this almost every podcast, I think, one thing I do sense, Dan, is that what the whole reason Billy Napier, I say the whole reason, one of the primary reasons Billy Napier got hired is that the recruiting buzz, the visits, the making the final lists, we've always said that's step one.
Right.
There's 3 steps. Number 1 is get them interested. Right. Number 2, get them to come. And number 3, develop them. Well, it's got to start with number 1, get them interested. I really do sense, even this far along, 6 months into his tenure, I do sense that the get them interested, get them on campus, make Florida a part of the recruiting buzz. I think that part's happened.
Yes.
Now you're the one that says, and you're right, because you're the recruiting beat reporter for the podcast, by the way. So
thank you for that title.
Everything you say. We got to start getting them committed now.
Yes.
But I think step 1, I feel really good about that. I feel like anytime there's a good player in the state of Florida or in the region, when he lists his 10 finalists, 5 finalists, I get a hunch that logo is going to be on the tweet every time now. Don't you get that sense?
100%. And then going forward, and by the way, that has happened,
Yes.
And then one other small complaint about recruiting: kids, don't drop 7. If you want to drop 5,
right,
I'm okay. I don't want any more drop 7s, Frank.
I've seen 10s.
Yeah, we don't need 10s. Just drop in fact, 3 would be really nice. Right. Drop 3. Okay. Don't wait. Like, it's clear, speaking of recruits, at Arch Manning, for example, Georgia, Texas, Alabama. There was talk of him coming to Florida, but sure seems like Georgia, Texas, and Bama is going to be one of those 3. I think if you put 3 out there and there's 3 pretty good programs, you'll be okay. So drop 3, 5 at most. No more dropping 7 or 10s, please, Frank.
I'm right with you. And so, but most importantly, let's get a couple of those final. But I like where they are recruiting wise. Yeah. The building's getting built. The facilities, slowly but surely. Now, they got to redo the swamp in some areas, but slowly but surely.
That's coming.
But his Zach Tech Arena is now really nice.
Yeah.
The basketball practice facility has been nice. They didn't rebuild, but upgraded the softball stadium. The baseball state of the art, one of the best in the country. Mm-hmm. This football standalone is going to. slowly but surely, I think the facilities are catching up too.
And it'll make a difference.
Yeah, and
it'll make a difference.
And you've always said that, to your credit. You've always said that. But I'll tell you this, Dan. I now sense that this is a turning point. I'm not sure what the phrasing is. Is it a turning point? Is it a new launch point? But young coaches are in place. The basketball, men's basketball, women's basketball, football coaches are new.
Yep.
They're young. There's an energy. The facilities are new. They're young. There's an energy. It almost seems like a rebirth seems too dramatic.
Yeah.
Florida's done too much for too long to need a rebirth. But there certainly is a polishing up of everything, isn't there? And I think this is kind of a starting point of all that together.
Listen, I'm still picking up the pieces of a disappointing tennis year where we got knocked out by UVA, and I was excited about getting a T-shirt. And so
T-shirt guy.
I was looking for back-to-back, Frank.
You were a T-shirt guy. You're quite the.
You win a natty, we get T-shirts.
I know that.
Have I ever gotten you a T-shirt?
No. When there's 44 natties, and I think I'm T-shirt free, which is not good.
You'll get one on the next natty.
Okay, XL. I'm an XL guy, and I'd love one. Thank you.
Next natty, you will get a T-shirt. Now, some of the T-shirts don't last particularly long, but nonetheless, you wear them proudly. I, of course, have a tennis T-shirt from our natty last year. I need a. I don't know if we're getting any more this year. Doesn't look. I'm not sure about those last two sports, but we'll see.
Dan, but I think we're in good shape. I think the program's in good shape.
Yeah,
I'm excited. We will do the podcast every couple weeks now as we move forward.
Yeah,
but it'll be fun to watch the baseball.
Next week we're going to dive into the greatest Gator baseball player of all time. Do your homework on Pete Alonso, an NL MVP candidate, please. If you don't mind, I'd like you to bring some insight into the polar bear.
I've heard he's very good. I'll do all that.
He's got 11 and 40 and hitting 286. I mean, he leads the league in homers and ribbies. I mean.
He's going to he's going to be by far the greatest Gator ever, isn't he? By far.
You'd think.
If he's not already. Right?
I know. You'd think. I mean, he's third all time in home runs at Citi Field already, so he's already moving up the charts.
All right.
All right, Frankie.
All Things Gators. Let's watch the baseball. All Things Gators, all things orange and blue. Dan Hicken and Frank Frangie.
Yeah, go Gators. And thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs in the Jacksonville area. Frank, you do yourself a favor and have a great week.
You too. See you, buddy.
All right.